Well, yep, we're preparing to live stream the meeting. Take a second. We will be ready.
We're waiting for you. Okay. Right. Yes, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the March Public Safety Committee for Washington meeting for Washington County. We are in order with 3 members present, 2 excused. This meeting has been properly posted to the clerk's office and normal publication. We'll continue now in a moment of silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First agenda item is a review of minutes from our February 19th meeting. Were there any irregularities that need to be corrected? Seeing none, the minutes will stand as posted. Item number 3, first item, the sheriff's office acknowledgement for corrections officers with Ty Ferguson, Thomas Zoliki.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity again for me to fill you in a little bit on some of the goings on in the sheriff's office and the staff. So this is the highest person who's only been with us. 2 years. This is an incident that occurred in the jail actually for last year for a variety of different reasons. We're going to bring it to the attention of public safety now. It deals with jail operations and jail operations. I think I maybe mentioned this in other committee reports. It is the highest liability operations of all county operations. It doesn't matter. We have officers out on the streets, driving that's excessive speeds, carrying weapons, arresting people. It pales in comparison to the amount of liability that happens over in the jail. A lot of politicians realize that because they don't understand and see what goes on behind the walls of the jail. So it's important to me that we bring the attention of the work that the staff does over in the jail. So this is for 2, as you mentioned, 2 of our staff. Matthias is here. Thomas is actually he's got a pretty good excuse, family vacation. I think even out of state, so he wasn't able to make it. I'll present that here in a couple later days. But this is an acknowledgement. Whereas on Monday, August 11th, 2024, at approximately 7:25 p.m., a male inmate attempted to take his own life by hanging. Whereas corrections officers Matthias Thurston and Thomas Zilke were alerted and responded to the subject's location. The subject was found to be on the opposite side of the door, hanging by a bed sheet. The sheet had been tied to the top of the door, closed a bracket, carried to the top of the door jamb, and around the side of the door jamb. The door was further closed, making the door difficult to immediately open. Whereas once the door opened, both officers found that the subject could not be lowered to the ground due to the blanket still being caught at the top of the door jamb. Whereas both officers held up the 6'3", 220-pound subject for over 60 seconds to patiently throw out the subject's neck until further assistance could be arrived to remove the blanket from the door. So the subject could be lowered to engage in life-saving measures. The subject began taking breathing and was placed into a recovery position until Westman Fire and Rescue arrived and took over care of the subject. Whereas due to the actions of all those involved, the tragic event was prevented and a life was saved. But standing out are the noble actions of these 2 officers whose heroic actions to hold up the subject and probably saves his life. And therefore be resolved that Corrections Officer Patty Thurston is hereby acknowledged by the Washington County Sheriff's Office for his composure and courage in an emergency situation that directly impacted the life of another. So thanks for that. We appreciate it. Thank you. I'm just gonna give you a real quick story of how Matthias and I met and how we became a member of Sheriff's Office. My daughter had some autism warranty work that was being done at a dog dealership. And it wasn't even the dealership that we bought the vehicle from. So I walked into the dealership and and I had this kind of lost look in my face, so I didn't exactly know where to go. The salesman came up to me and wanted to know what I was trying to do. So he was kind enough to direct me. He took me, knowing that it wasn't my car at all, but he took me to the parts department, stood by with me and helped me get the parts all taken care of. During the conversation, I could tell he was actually military, very yes sir, no sir. And I started talking to him with Matthias. And so I ended up giving him my business card, and a couple of weeks later, he called me and he's a member of our staff. So I'm grateful that we had that conversation.
Very good, thank you. Thank you for sharing the information about the incident and the good job that our corrections officers are doing.
Thank you.
Item 3D on the agenda is 2025 resolution advisory resolution urging zoning leaders and Wisconsin legislature to support for that. We have the course Sherry. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. Anyone have any questions? And we do an overview. So the circuit courts across the state are significantly underfunded by the state. And by that, I mean that the counties themselves support the court system. At least 80% of the funding comes through the court levy or comes through the county levies and their own general fund. Only 20% of the state funding gets put into any of the county fundings for the circuit courts. So the Wisconsin Counties Association partnered with the Clerk of Courts Association and conveyed on the Capitol last month and talked to the legislators and asking them to increase that support. That support request is for $70 million. Now, fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess depends on how you look at it, the governor has placed $24 million in his budget proposal for next year and $70 million for the following year. Well, we talked to the Wisconsin Counties Association and our Clerks Association, and we are going to stay the task. We need to not only keep that in the budget, but we need to keep moving forward in order to make sure that that doesn't get cut in what the Joint Financial Committee may or may not cut in their votings. On April 4th, that Joint Committee will be at the State County Fairgrounds. I plan on attending that and continuing to convey the need that we have at our county level for the support by our state. And we're hoping that it goes through. I don't know what it'll look like in the end. The intention is that it go to the support program and it be divvied out much like it does in the 80-20, only at a bigger percentage. The state court director's office is going to be the one in charge of that. The goal there is to try to make it as usable funds as possible. What does that mean? That means that we're fortunate here in Washington County that we have a great staff and great judges. And our interpreter costs aren't nearly as significant as others. But we do have significant GAL costs. So the reason why they want to put it into the court appropriations fund is so that we can get the most of that money back to the need that we have in this county.
Very good, thank you for that background information. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it.
Thank you, thank you. For discussion, Sherman Plant has asked for report. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In a conversation with the county executive last week, this came up, and I've been one that's been pushing for this. I'm not usually much for advisory resolutions, but in this case, it means about $1 million in our budget. So if we get that money from the state, we don't have to charge the taxpayers for it. Simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I truly believe that we're spokes in the wheel and everyone needs to do their part and that's my interest to do my part.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, it's one of those things that the state takes on the responsibility as it has, and then fails to live up to that responsibility. Someone needs to call them to task, and thank you for your part in doing those efforts. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 3C on the agenda, fire and EMS update. For that, we have Chief Public Safety Officer Dave Sager.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. So finally, after 6 months, it's funny how quickly time goes. We will have a presentation later on this month for the recommendations that healthcare strategists will be putting forward. So I'm very excited about this, what those recommendations provide, and working alongside our fire department officials, along with chief elected officials, along with the county board of supervisors and the executive, as to how we can manage the circumstances that are before us.
Very well. Thank you for that report. Are there any questions or comments from the? See, now we'll move on to the next item. 3D, reflects the municipal public safety radio grants, Hartford Fire Department. This is a typical item, but we have a motion and a second.
So,
Thank you. Second from Supervisor. Any discussion or additional information on the second? And it is fairly straightforward. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Our next meeting date will be April 16th, 2025. Thanks again for your interest and dedication to the citizens of Washington County. We are adjourned.